Hey everybody, how's it going? It is Keith once again with Craps TX. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And as always, please give us that thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet, and hit that bell for notifications. That way you'll be notified when a new video comes out. The thumbs up really helps. It does a lot. It helps push the video out to other viewers, and obviously subscribing helps a lot because that shows YouTube that people are interested in the channel, and I'm interested in my subscribers because I'm going to be doing a giveaway when we get to 1,000 subs, and in order to be eligible you have to subscribe, so please consider doing that. All right, today we're going to be running a strategy that I saw on WagerMeThis right there. That is Jacob's channel. Runs a lot of good strategies, a lot of hybrid strategies, and he's got some low roller strategies as well. But yeah, he's got videos going back several years, and still does put out some recent content as well. This one is what he calls my best hybrid strategy. He actually ran a 10 video series on it where he tried to increase his bankroll by 10 to 20%, I believe, each time. I watched his first video on this. He started out with $1,500. We're going to start out with a little bit different bankroll. We'll get to that in just a minute, and the strategy as well. First of all, I want to thank our two partners real quick right here, gripmats.etsy.com. That's the makers of this deluxe craps mat that I use, and they can also customize mats. Got my logo down there. You can kind of see it a little bit in the corner. I've got the other one in the other corner. Once I've widen this table out a little bit, you'll be able to see everything a little bit better, but they do custom mats for you. They also have mats for poker, blackjack, and baccarat, plus a huge lineup of theme design, licensed designs. Marvel, DC, Star Wars, Dune, Lord of the Rings, Hero Quest as well. They can also do some home type games for chess, checkers, backgammon. They make desk mats. They have wood pattern mats. They can do some custom shapes for you. They also have travel and storage options for whenever you're on the road. And the mats are also water resistant. Spills bead right up and wipe clean with a microfiber cloth. They have a little video on their website that shows just that. Like I said, they are a small business, and they run some rotating percentage off sales. Just click on the item that you're looking at. It'll show right there if that percentage off is available. And as I said, they're also really great about custom orders. Just reach out to them. Head over to their website, gripmats.etsy.com. They have quality mats to stay flat, grip the table, and hold up over time. All right, next up is pokerchipmania.com, another small business that supports the channel, and we support both of these small businesses. They carry everything that you need to get that real casino feel at home. They've got different kinds of chips. They have clay chips, ceramic. They have casino-grade chips. They also have these striped dice composite chips that I use. They carry the 19 millimeter dice, and they have chip trays and the storage cases that those go into as well. Let's see what else they do. They have some other casino type games such as poker, blackjack, and roulette supplies. Super responsive, easy to work with, and they can also handle custom orders. And for my viewers exclusively, they get a 10% off with this code down there at the bottom of that banner, CrapsTX10. If you just use that at checkout, you'll get 10% off your entire order. And some of you have already taken advantage of that and reached out to me and let me know. We're very thankful, and so is Poker Chip Mania. That's pokerchipmania.com. Upgrade your game room with some quality casino grade gear. All right, links for both of those are down in the description below, as well as some other links. Go check them out. That's what I put them down there for. All right, so let's get on to today's strategy. Like I said, this was on WagerMeThis, Jacob's channel. My best hybrid strategy is what he calls it. So let's first of all get the money out of the way, and I'll kind of describe it. He started out with $1,500. He's playing at a $25 level, at least seemingly, because his bets were never really below 25. But I'm start out with 1,000 just for the sake of the video. There's 600, 7, 8, 9, 25, 50, 75, and 1,000. We'll get that racked up. As I said, it is a hybrid strategy. We're going to play the don't pass, and that will protect us, well, hopefully protect us against the 7. And we'll play the box numbers up here. If the point is a 6 or 8, he'll play the iron cross strategy. If the point is any other number, he'll play the other numbers across for 135. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. That's kind of the best way to see a strategy or learn a strategy, is to see it in action. Just set a dice there, and we'll put 150 out on the don't pass. And then what he does is set up his next 150. That's why I have the second rack out here. Hopefully it's also for some winning, but I don't know, winning chips. And then each time he hits, he'll put a little bit in there, he'll put a little bit in his rack, and if he's up a little bit more than that, he'll start pressing up some of the numbers he's got out here. All right, well, let's get a point first, and we're coming out. We're going to have a 6, 4, 10. 10 will be our point. Good point to have, hopefully. And then we'll put out our 135. We're going to play the rest of the numbers, as I said, whenever it's one of the numbers other than a 6 or a 10. I'm sorry, a 6 or an 8. Point is 10. All right, so we're ready to go. We got 135 against 150. Let's see if we can't hit some of these box numbers here, rack up a little bit of money. There is a 415. All right, 25 is going to pay 35, and kind of the way he does it is, let's press up that 5 with a nickel. Let's put a quarter in the next shooter, and then we'll put a nickel in our rack. See if I can get those to stand up without falling down. And the reason he does that, or builds that up, is so that the next go round you can play a little bit more out here if you so choose, if you have a bigger don't pass bet. 549. 25 is going to pay 35. We'll do the same thing like we did on the 5. We'll put a nickel there. This time let's collect that quarter, and we'll just put a nickel over on that next shooter. Dice out. 325. All right, there's one of our pressed up numbers that is going to pay 42. There's 35 on there. It's going to pay 42. I will press it up to 35. So what am I going to do here? I'll put the 2 red in there and collect the quarter and the 2 white. And you can do that in any configuration that you want. Sometimes he even puts all of whatever he won into that next shooter. Sometimes he collects it all. There is a hard 6. 25 is going to pay 35, and he always tries to press up a little bit. So I'll go ahead and press up to 42. I'll put the red there and throw in 2 white. There's 42. I'll just take that quarter and put that in with my next shooter. All right, dice are out. There is a 538, easy 8. All right, we'll kind of do the same thing here with that 8. 25 pays 35. Please press me up to 42. We'll collect the quarter. I'm going to have to use a nickel for change to get some white, so we can make that 42 and then put that there. All right, so let's keep on going. See, so that time I didn't put any in for the next shooter. 2x4, 6. 42 is going to pay 49 or 50 for 1. And we will go ahead and press it up to 60. All right, so that leaves us with $32 here. We'll put a quarter there with the next shooter. We'll put 10, or the rest of it, actually, back over here. Dice out. So you can see how it kind of builds up a little bit for you. And it can also work against you. 6-5-yo, that is no help, no harm. It's just like any other strategy. It works when it works, and it doesn't when it doesn't. There is a 415. 35 is going to pay 42, I believe. 35, 40, and 2. All right, so we will, let's say, press that up to 50. Let's just go up to 50, and we'll take 3 white, or 3 red rather, put it with there, and then we'll put the other red and white in our rack. All right, dice are out. Still on shooter number 1. 549. All right, we have 30 there. That is going to pay 42. Right. Did I have 42 on that, or 35 on that? I don't remember. Anyway, there's 42. 30 pays 42, right? No. 6, 7, 5, 35. 30 pays 42. Yeah. Okay. Got it right. All right, so we're going to press it up to 50, and we'll take the red and the white back to the rack. We'll just kind of split it. We'll put 10 there, 10 there, and the white there. All right, so we're getting a pretty good chunk for our next shooter as far as the don't pass goes. Nice out. There's a 628. What do we have on that? 42. That is going to pay 49 or 50 for 1. All right, we'll take that 8 up to 60. And let's see, we'll collect a quarter. We'll put a nickel there, and the white will collect as well. Nice out. 314. That's a good one. We're actually buying that. Anything over 20 or over, we'll buy it. So there is $1 for the VIG. We're going to get 2 green in return, and we'll just split the difference on that. We'll put a quarter there and a quarter there. Actually, I'm just going to leave it. All right, dice out. 437. All right, so there is our 7 out. We'll put all this away, and then we get paid on this down here, 150. All right, and so this will go back to our rack. All of that. Puck goes off, and then we have our next chunk of money to put out for our next shooter. Let's go ahead and color this up a little bit just so it's not so higgledy-piggledy. There's 5 red for a quarter, 4 of those for 100, and we got 200, 75, 85, 95. So we got 295 going on our don't pass. All right, dice are out. 639. All right, 9 will be our point. So we're going to play across. We have up to what? 275, 85, 95. So we can play 220 out here. Well, not 220. It would be 255. Let's put 2 on each. No. Yeah. It's 200. We'll just put a quarter each on the 4 and the 10. How about that? All right. So we'll have to cap off our 6 and 8 to make them proper bets. We have 60 on each of those. Now, you don't have to go up and play that high, to get just under whatever you have up here. You could still play 135, and then just kind of press up from there. And we can even regress. We can take a couple of hits and then maybe regress. Dice out. Let's see if we can get a couple of hits first. There's a 6, 4, 10. That quarter is going to pay 50 for a $1 VIG. And I'll just go ahead and collect. We'll put a quarter there. And as a matter of fact, we got to get our next shooter set up, the 150. So I'll put a quarter from the winnings of that 10 there and a quarter there. So now we have 175 for that next shooter thus far. There's another 6, 4, 10. All right, so we'll throw out another $1 and we'll collect that again. We'll do the split. We'll put a quarter there and a quarter in our rack. $1 goes to the dealer. Dice out. 437. All right, so that was a 4. It just rolled. Somewhere is a 4 on here. Oh, man, there we go. 437. So it was, obviously, hopefully you saw it on the video. That is a 437. So we do lose all that. We didn't get it. Well, we did have 2 hits. I should have regressed. Oh, well, I didn't. On me. That's my fault. But we do get paid right there. So that is going to be 2 black, 3 green, and 4 red. So that will all go back to our rack. And the rack is getting full. That's a bad problem to have. All right, so for our next shooter, we have 200 set aside. We'll go ahead and color that up. So we have 200 on our don't pass, and we're looking for a point. Nicer out. And I knew that was going to happen eventually. So 617, you lose on the 7 and the 11. We're going to lose that 200. We didn't set up our next 150 yet, so we would have set that up. So that's all we're going to have to put out for this next one, because we didn't get a chance to build up. And then we'll set up our next 150 for the next shooter. Sorry if that's loud. I know that is kind of loud with it being a plastic rack like that. There's a 538. That's going to be our point. We have 200 that we can play against. I'm just going to play the 135. Oh, actually, that's an 8, so we need to play the iron cross. All right, so we have 135 we can play against. We have a quarter in the field. What can we do here? What's that, 100, 125? Oh, I don't want to play 135 exactly. So let's see. We'll pay 35, 40. We'll play 42 on there, and we'll play 35 on here. So I'm going to have to get 2. There we go. All right, so now we got our iron cross. 42 and 35 is what? 77. Plus 25 is 102. So we got 102 playing against 150. Why am I grabbing those dice? I got dice right here. All right, dice are out. And from this iron, well, we're not going to get to do it. I was going to say from this iron cross, once you start hitting some of the numbers, you can spread out to some of these other numbers as well. That's kind of what he did. All right, so with that 7, we are going to lose all of this, including the field. But why that was there, we do get our 150 down there. So we come out just a little bit ahead, not much. That'll all go in the rack, and this will go off. We'll put our next 150 out. That's all we had. We didn't get to add to it at all. We'll set up our next 150 for our next shooter, and dice are out. There's a 314. All right, that's another good point to have. 150, so we'll just play our 135 across now, since we don't have to play the iron cross. And you don't have to play 135 either. You could just play these inside numbers if you want. Do 110. Actually, we're going to buy that 10. All right, dice are coming out. There's a 314, and that is not good. Point hit. It's good for the light side players, but we lost our 150, so we got to put our 150 out again and get us some change and put our next 150 up. All right, dice out, looking for a new point. 6, 4, 10. That is a good one to have. Dealer, please move my 10 to the 4. And we can just keep everything as is. Dice out. 4, 3, 7. Well, we're just getting some quick 7s here. The first shooter kind of went on for a little bit, but these next couple didn't. Let's see. So we'll pay our 150. So we got some back, but obviously we lost that 150 early on, so we didn't get any profit at all on that shooter. And there's 150 for our next shooter, and we'll set up our next 150 in the rack if we have time. What do we got? 17 minutes. We should be okay. Dice out. That should be off. That is now a 5. And let's see. It's only when it's a 6 or an 8 that you play the iron cross. So any of these other numbers, we're just going to play the 135. Takes up all of our green. Couple of red to make it a proper bet, and we are off. Let's get some of those box numbers, or let's just get another quick 7, because that is the theme today. How many quick 7s can you get? Well, I don't know. As long as the video is, I guess. There's 150, so we made a whopping $15. There's our next 150 out there. It'd be nice to put a little more than that, and then we'll set up our next 150 there. Turn that off, and we're coming out looking for a new point. 415. All right, let's see what we can do there. Again, I'm going to have to get change here first. There's 100 for 4 green. I'll throw in 1 more green. We'll buy the 4, 6, 8, 9, and we'll buy the 10. And then we'll put 2 reds on the 6 and 8 to make it proper. So again, 135 against 150. Dice out. 639. 25 is going to pay 35. Press me up to 30, dealer. I will put, let's just put the nickel in with that, and we'll collect a quarter since we did kind of get hit a couple of times. 538. 30 will pay 35. I will press it up to 42. I'll have to throw in a couple of dollars. And we'll collect the quarter. We'll take $10 and put it over here. So we're collecting 15, really. And then putting the rest over for our next shooter. We'll square that up. All right, dice out. 437. Well, not as quick as the others, but still quick nonetheless. We did get a hit or 2, right? I think. And then 150 down there. 150, Keith. There you go. Pay me. Pay me my money. All right. So that goes back to our rack, and then we have 150.65 for our next shooter for the don't pass. So we can play up to that amount if we can get out of it. There is a 516. 6 will be our point. Let's get our next 150 set up. We should have time, unless we can get a long roll out of this shooter. That would be nice. Whenever it's a 6, we play the iron cross, and we're playing against what, 165, I said? All right, so we'll put a quarter, quarter, quarter. There's 75, and then let's see what we're going to do from there. Let's put a few nickels out. We'll go 35. We'll put that at 42. So we'll just we'll just leave it there. There's 42, and 35 is 77, and 25 is 102. Dice out. So 102 against 165. 5. Okay. 35 is going to pay 42? No. 49. 49. Or 50 for 1. I don't have the 1, so I'm going to get change. There's a nickel. I'll get 4 and change. Dealer, take my 5 up to 50. Let's see. Pick up my 9 for 25, and then I'll put a nickel in there and a nickel there. All right, so we still keep our field bet because we still have a 4 and a 10 that could hit on that. We could always take that down whenever. 415. Actually, we should have taken it down already, right? Because we hit a no field 5. So we don't have a field bet out there. All right, 415. 50 is going to pay something. 1070, right? 50 pays 70. Now I will say, let's get my 4 for 20. Let's get my 10 for 20. I'm going to have to get change. There's 5. So I'll buy both of those for 20, unless we're at a $25 table. He didn't say. I'm just going to assume we're at a $15 table. So I've got 30 left over. I'll put a quarter in there, and I'll collect a nickel. All right, dice out. 617. Okay, so again, we got a couple of hits. Not anything spectacular, but enough to stay a little bit in profit. And what do we have down there? 165 is what we're going to get on that don't pass. There's 50 and 65. All right, just to make sure that's where we're at, 165. All right, so we'll rack that up. Maybe. There we go. Actually, put that there. Get our green racked up. This will probably be our last shooter. Let's see what we're working with here. We have 180. So we got 180 going on the don't pass. I will go ahead and set up another 150 just in case. And yeah, let's get started. Dice out. Looking for a point. There is a hard 4. Again, we're getting the good points, the 4s and the 10s, but we just can't do a whole lot with them yet. All right, so we had 175, 180. So we can play up to 180, but we've been playing 135 inside. That's plenty, really, in my opinion. So we'll just go ahead and play that. We'll buy the 10, and we'll cap off our 6 and 8. So we got 135 against that 180, whatever I said it was. Yeah, 180. Dice out. 6, 4, 10. All right, 25 is going to pay 50. You're going to have to pay $1 big. For every $20, you have to pay $1. When it's 25, I think they still just make you pay $1. With that, we'll take a quarter, put it in the next shooter, and a quarter in the rack. Again, that's only if we have another shooter. This could be the last shooter here. Dice out, and there's 427 or 527. Oh man, oh man, oh man! With the quick 7s, I mean, we're not getting pummeled, but we're getting, I don't know, frustrated maybe? All right, so there's 180. I mean, we're still getting paid, obviously. 180. So let's go ahead and, do we want to do one more shooter? Yeah, let's do one more shooter. And I won't even set up the next 150 for the next shooter because we're not going to do another shooter. So whatever we get here will be it. And we've got 250 to play with. I don't know why we have 250. Did I really put that much over there? I don't think I did. Let's just go with 150. Put that back in the rack. We don't have to go full bore speed ahead. There's a 639. 9 will be our point. Got 150 to play against. We'll do the 135. Hopefully we got to go through the majority of the scenarios. So we're not going to put our next 150 out because we're not going to have another shooter. Let's go ahead and make these proper bets. We got 135 against 150. Wager me this, my best hybrid strategy is what he calls it. There is a 3 craps ace deuce, no help, no harm, and a hard 10. All right, that works. 25, we'll pay 50 for a dollar big. There's our dollar. There's our 50. We could do a little pressing. Let's go ahead and we'll collect both of those, but I'm going to throw a nickel out on these other ones. Actually, we need to probably make these 40. There's 30, 35, and 40. We'll do that. Hopefully I won't regret it. So there is 40, right? 30, 40. Yep. So we got 40 on the 4 and 10. And there's a 639. Wouldn't you know it? All right, so that takes away our don't pass. Point hit. Let's go ahead and throw another 150 out. I said I wasn't setting up for another shooter. We're on the same shooter, so we'll put our 150 out there. There's a hard 4. Again, we're hitting the good points. That's good. Dealer, please move that to the 9. And we are set. Correct? Correct. Right. Okay. Yeah, because we're not going to set up for another shooter. Oh, my God. Yeah, 4 is a great point to have, especially when you don't hit it. All right, so we're going to lose that 150. Here's 150. I'm just going to replace it. We are still on the same shooter. It was just sniping our points left and right. There's a 12. That does not hurt or help us. That is a push. There is a 5, 3, 8. All right, so 8 will be our point. Dealer, please move that to the 4. I'll throw in 2 more nickels and make that 40. We're buying that. All right, dice are coming out. 639. All right, at least finally I get one hit. What is that? 40. What does 40 pay? That's what, 8 of them. So 8 times 7 is 56. 50, 5, and 6. Yep. Okay, so dealer, take me up to 50 on the 5. Let's see. We'll put, oh, that's the 9, actually. I said 5. We'll put that there, and that's it for now. We'll collect the rest. We don't need to press up everything. Dice out. 325. All right. 35 is going to pay 49 or 50 for 1. Dealer, take my 5 up to 50. We'll just collect the rest. And also, I'm going to say, dealer, take my 4 and 10 down to 25 each. So I'm going to take those red and collect those. I know I'm on my last shooter. If you're at the table and you know you're on your last shooter, oh my gosh. Put some money back in your rack. There is another 150 lost. Point hit. Still on the same shooter. So again, you can walk away. You don't have to stay just because you're on the same shooter, but we're just doing it for the sake of the video. Dice out. 628. Why not? Let's stay on that same number that keeps shooting us in the foot. And let's see. There's an ace deuce. Nothing for that. There's a 628. Yeah. Let's just whittle away at our bankroll by just keep hitting the points. Great for the light side players, but we're trying to play a hybrid strategy. There's a 2 craps. Now that helps because we do get that back. You win on the 2 and 3 on the don't pass. So we got a little bit back. We'll collect all of that. There's a hard 4. Again, a great number to have for the points. Dealer moved by 25 to the 8. I'll throw another nickel out, make it a proper bet. Dice are out. There is a 12. That does not help or hurt. 12 craps. Whoa, that was a weird bounce. There's a 415, 50. We'll pay 70. Dealer, take my 5 up to 75, and I'll just collect the rest. That was 60. That should have been 70. There's 10 more. Okay, now we got it. Dice out. 617. Okay, now we're done with the shooter. That is all for that shooter. That is all for this video. So let's go ahead and count up what we got. What do we got down here? 150. So we do get our 150 back there. But is it enough? We'll find out. Let's go ahead and count all this up, color it up, and see where we ended up. We started out with $1,000 on Jacobs at WagerMeThis. my best hybrid strategy. I'll put a link to it down below. There is 5, 50. Okay, so there's 50. That's 2 green chips. And let's get these set out. There's 4, 100. There's another 100. There's not enough there. So that is 2 black chips. And let's give it a count, see where we're at. Start off with 1,000. There is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, so we're going to be in profit. There's 1,000. So there's 100, 75, 85, 95, 96, 97. 197 in profit. So 1197. Bought us some time at the table. Got us some tier points, hopefully, if they rate you correctly. Sometimes when you're doing like a contradictory bet, they don't rate you properly. I mean, that is still all your money out on the table, and you can still lose it all. So I don't know why they wouldn't rate you properly. But anyway, let me know what you think down in the comments below. Hopefully I didn't make any mistakes, and I do apologize for the big mistake on the last video. I made a huge accounting error at the end. We were still in profit, but I counted up the chips incorrectly. So this time I hope got everything correct, and I hope I paid myself correctly as we went through the game there. If you'd like to email us, you can email us right here at crapstx@gmail.com. A few people have emailed me, said they've been hyping my videos, and I do appreciate that. I'm not sure exactly what it does, but if you would like to hype it as well. As long as it doesn't cost you anything. I don't think it does. But what really helps is a thumbs up. That helps push it out to the rest of the world, and subscribing helps you out and me. And if you hit that bell, that helps you know when a new video comes out. So that was Jacobs at WagerMeThis, best hybrid strategy. And I said he ran a 10 video series on that, trying to increase by 20% each time. So I'm going to go back and watch the rest of his videos. I just watched video number 1 in that series. I've watched some of the other ones before, but I'm going to go back and watch them because it's always good for a refresher. So that's going to do it. This is CrapsTX. My name is Keith. Thank you guys so much for watching, guys and gals. We'll see you on the next one. Upside down.